Right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Death to Life Testimonies. We've got Bruce Pearson here. We was going to be bringing us his testimony. We're so thankful for you, Bruce. He's a friend of Church in a Barn, a friend of ours that we've known for a long time, and he's been encouraging us with his preaching and this testimony that we've heard, and the work he does following this, and the way that Jesus came into his life and changed it. So I'll hand over to him, and he's going to tell us all about it, how it started and how it's going now. Thanks very much, Bruce.
Cheers, Ben. I'm glad you said that. We've heard this testimony a load of times. That's what you need to hear again, right? But obviously when I got asked, I've been thinking about this, and I thought, normally I start my testimony by going back to my childhood, let's say, but I want to reverse it. I want to start today and then look back. And there's a reason for that. And that's because one part of my ministry now is I go out and we do outreach. We take food out to the homeless, the addict, the working girl, or people facing life's most difficult situations, let's say. And today we were out and we were surrounded by, I don't know, 20 or 30 people, and it was just chaotic. Like, I can't explain how chaotic it was. This is about, I don't know, maybe 11 o'clock this morning, and whereas people are getting, I suppose, done a day's work and getting ready for the lunch at that time, most of the people we saw are intoxicated. They're all on the mobile phones or pay phones, trying to organise to get the fix for the day. You've got girls that have just finished work coming into town to get a fix and then go home. Like, it's absolutely manic and chaotic. There's people that are sleeping rough in Bradford with her. And at a point, one of the guys that go out with me, he said, "How did it ever end up like this?" And I said, "Well, you know, at one time, these were just all kids running around in the playground, like they were somebody's son and daughter. They never started their life out to be like this. They never wanted to be like this. Like, if they could live it over and they had a choice, this is not what they would be doing." And it really made me then think about this idea of from death to life. Because it wasn't that long ago that I was in the same position as those guys, that my life was literally dead. And that goes, I suppose, back to when I was a child and growing up. You know, I grew up in an average working class family, single parent, 2 older brothers. And where I grew up, I'd say that the drinking culture were really big. I was brought up from going to pubs and clubs and working men's clubs. This was kind of my life, but I never had no inkling to drink or take drugs, mainly because I saw the fruit of drinking, and that namely what abuse, especially domestic abuse between man and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. I've seen that quite a lot, especially a lot in my family. So it's not something that I ever wanted to be a part of. But I was around that atmosphere, and I saw the destruction that drink brought. Now, when I was looking at these guys today, we can say, well, look what drink's done or drugs have done. Like, they've destroyed these people's lives totally. But when I was a kid, I saw it more subtly. I saw that if a guy went out and had some drinks on a Friday night, that he'd come home and he might be abusive to his partner, but they'd be back in love the next day, go to work, and the cycle would repeat. And for me, the danger or the fruit of drinking is both just as bad. Whether it ended up in homelessness or in abuse or neglect of the wife. And because I saw that, it's not something that I ever wanted to do. And I didn't do. You know, I got with a wonderful girl, my childhood sweetheart, where we moved away, got a great career, never wanted to do any of that sort of stuff. Some things kind of came back from my past from when I was a child. You know, sometimes it was a tough childhood. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy it. And my mum was great. She worked miracles. But there was just, you know, some stuff in it. And they kind of came back and stopped me sleeping. And my girlfriend then said, let's have a couple of drinks to help you sleep. So I did. It worked. I knew it's a problem. If you've got a pain and somebody tells you to take a Nurofen and it works, well, you're going to take it every time you got pain. And for me, I lived in pain, emotional pain, and even mental pain in a way. I never felt accepted or belonged to anywhere or anybody. I always felt alone in a lot of senses. And drink helped me escape that. And that escalated. I had a great job. I was working, alcoholic at that time, drinking every night. Getting up in the morning, having to have a drink before I went to work, just so I could operate properly. Because when you're drinking, when you're an addict, when you stop drinking, your body goes into detox. It's not. If anyone's ever drunk and you've got an hangover next day, that's why your body's detoxing. And when you're in that state, your body needs more of it to work properly. So I've been drinking in the morning, drinking in the afternoon. I went like this for quite a while as an operating, or what they call functioning alcoholic. And then I knew what was going to happen because I'd seen what alcohol had done. It had stripped people of the dignity, it stripped them of any humanity, any self-respect, it stripped them of any love or compassion to other people. I'd seen that growing up, and that's what it did to me. It stripped me of everything that makes a person a person. I had no dignity left. I had no self-respect. I had no compassion or love towards people. And everything that you look for in life, let's say, so you look for something to make you happy. You want to find a good partner who makes you feel happy. You want to do something well and get confidence that you're capable of doing something good. Well, alcohol and drugs replace that. It makes you feel good when you take it. You're never lonely when you've got it. And that's what it became. It became a companion, my best friend, my partner, my friends. That were it. And I used to go out quite a lot, but a lot of mine would have been home drinking. And I'm one of these people that no matter what I do, I've got to push it to an extreme. I've got to really, really push it to an extreme. So if I'm going to abuse myself through drinking and taking drugs, I'm going to do it as long as I can and as much as I can and as hard as I can. Like if I want to have a good time, I'm going to do it to the extreme. Or if I want to rest or read or study, I've always been a person that does things to extreme. So when you've got a personality that is alone, disconnected with reality, let's say, has problem making deep relationships and pushes things to the extreme, well, you put alcohol and drugs in there and it's just a catastrophe. It's just going to absolutely tear your life apart, which it did for me. I lost everything. I lost at home. I lost a good woman. I lost my job. So I started up working for myself, got a new girlfriend, got a new house, exactly the same, just kept on repeating itself. I couldn't get out of this cycle. It was like, people would say, oh, just stop. Well, it's not like that. It's like, I'm not sure whether you've all ever been in love before, but at the height of your love for somebody, if someone said to you, well, stop loving them, don't see them again, it's impossible. You can't do that. And that's what mentally it's like. And then physically, you're also addicted. You can't go that long without it before you start really detoxing. It's really dangerous on alcohol. Then I moved back to Bradford and it just spiraled out. It just got worse. I lost everything, my family, the lot. And I ended up on the streets. And this is a really strange part of it. It's a bit of a tangent, but people say to me now, "Oh, are you okay going to sit in a pub?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I ain't got a problem with that. Like, it don't faze me being around people that are drinking, or that's not it, or people having a good time. What bothers me more is when I see somebody homeless on the street drinking. Like, that's more of an appeal to me than people in the pub. That might seem strange, but when I became homeless and drink, in a strange way, I was more content then. One, because I couldn't hurt anybody else. Two, I'd burnt every bridge, and I was happy that I was on my own and could just drink in my own little world and keep away. And that sounds so strange, doesn't it? I think I'm not into real films really, but there's something in the film. I remember when my friend of mine said to me, "Oh, let's watch Lord of the Rings." And it's the thing, isn't it, that when that young kid hasn't got the ring, his compulsion to get it is stronger than anything. And he knows there's something not right in it and something evil and wicked, let's say. But when he gets it, he feels happy, content, and complete. That's exactly what it's like for alcoholics. Is that the thing that is killing and destroying everything is the thing that'll make you complete and content. So when I was on the street, I was quite happy in a really weird way. And when I say happy, I'm not comparing it to the happiness or joy that you find in Christ, or that is real or true happiness. It's a happiness of evilness. Anyway, I never discounted God in all of my life. Never believed in him. Times I were quite spiritual. I've always been a bit of a thinker. And when it got to the worst, I remember one Saturday, well, I was in a bad way. I'd been drinking a lot, didn't have much money left. So I knew we were in trouble. I was sat on like a grassy knoll park thing in the centre of Bradford. And I just started, for some reason, I started arguing with God. And I just remember saying, like, if you made this world, you've done such a bad job. Like, literally, if I'd have made it, I'd have made it better. Imagine that. And I'll call it telling God that he could have made the world better. It's just madness. But that's how my mind worked. And upon that, a young lad came up to me, and they were walking past, a young kid taking a shopping to his grandma. He just stopped and said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you know why Jesus died?" And I'm like, "I can't believe this. Like, why have you sent a little kid to me, God? But I'm trying to tell you how he should make your world." This young little lad proceeded to tell me that Christ died on the cross for me so I didn't have to live like this, and that Jesus loved me. And, I was quite angry with the kid. And it wasn't him per se, but I was angry at everything. He left. I got something else to drink. And I bumped into another street drinker I didn't know. But when you're street drinking, you got to look after each other. So he was just like, "Are you getting on? Have you got enough to drink? Do you need anything?" And I'm like, "I bottomed out. I'm broke here." So like, "I'll take you to my brother's to get some food." And at that point, I thought, well, I'll just have to rob him and his brother, get some money. Like, it's just kind of life we used to. And he took me over to a church, and he knocked on the door. And when the doors opened, there was a Franciscan monk there, looked like Friar Tuck. And he went, "Oh, this is Brother Sebastian." And I went, "That sort of brother." I was like, man. So he takes me to this church, and there's these monks just there. And this is how crazy my mind was at that time. This monk sat me down and said, "I'll go and make you a drink of tea." And I'm thinking, I'll just rob the church. Like, it's no bones. You just got to do what you got to do. And I remember sat in this room, and it were stained glass windows. So like light were coming in, but it were all blue because of the glass. There were a big gold cross. I thought, that's what I'm going to have. But then opposite me, there were a crucifix with Jesus looking at me. And I'm like, kind of torn between two. What do I do here? Anyway, the monk came back in, and he just said, "I need to pray for you." And he prayed that I would get healing, forgiveness, freedom. He prayed some prayers that only me and the Lord knew. And then I knew straight away that everything that I was looking for in life, the answer would have been in God or Jesus Christ. I couldn't have articulated that. I couldn't have said it, but I knew it deep down in my heart. And I left that place, and I left sober. I left free from drink. He gave me the Gospel of Matthew. Now I had nowhere to live. And at one of those God moments, I bumped into somebody who I never didn't know, but somebody had told them about me. They were an housing worker, and they could get me a place straight away. And I didn't know, and it was just really weird incident. They got me into an hostel, and I lived in an hostel for 11 months, 12 months. And I read the Gospel of Matthew. I went back, give me the Gospel of Luke, went back, Book of Acts, went back, said, here's a Bible, don't bother coming back. So I never did. Took my Bible, read it, and I spent 11 months understanding myself, understanding God, the Lord, and just said, well, I know that I've tried everything else in life, everything. I was a thinker. I believed in different things. I looked at a relationship, a house, and money, a career, drinking drugs, and nothing had ever satisfied me, or nothing had made me feel complete. And it was at that time that I just knew that the Lord was the truth. So my journey then was about trying to mend the bridges that I burnt, you know, and I can see, and I can be honest tonight and say that I've burnt a lot of bridges in my life. I've hurt a lot of people, and I haven't had chance to rebuild them, and I don't know if I ever will. My prayer is that the Lord will save them and heal them of anything that I've done, because, you know, I say on nights like this, and it's a great opportunity. I'm not gonna discount that, but sometimes stories like mine can get glamorized, and it all sounds good and it's all marvelous, but what people don't see is that behind me is just a train wreck of people that I hurt. If somebody that I really hurt were watching tonight, they're not thinking this is good. And that's the effects of alcohol or sin. This is the effects of when you're sinful in this world, that you'll leave carnage behind you, broken relationships and hurt people. And this is when, step into today then, let's say, and this evening, from death to life, this is how the Bible puts it. It says you're dead in your sins. Now, you're not dead physically, but you're dead spiritually, mentally, and emotionally when you're without Christ and you're in your sin. You know, and Romans 1 says this. It says, God gives you up for what you desire. Now, what you desire is never going to be good. So if you take it to the extreme, it's always going to work out really, really bad. So God gave me up to my desires, and that left to death and destruction. So when I've read the Bible, and God said, listen, you wanted to do what you wanted to do, so I'll let you do it, and you were just destruction and death. And this is what I said. And when I started seeing this, I was like, this is the ultimate truth, because what my life had been the book of Romans. I didn't acknowledge God, turned to sin. I was dead in my sins, my transgressions. I'd walked away, but then God restores me, calls him to me, washes me clean, and then places me in Christ's righteousness so I can stand alongside him, adopted into his family. Like, I cannot describe to you the profoundness of that. Now, I always say this, that I always get kind of two responses to this. Somebody will say, my life's been boring, I wish I had your testimony. And my answer's like, you're not right in your head. Who would want a life of pain, destruction and death just so they can look good in front of people? Like, nobody'd want that. I wouldn't want that. My wish is, I wish I had your testimony, where I brought up in a great Christian household, where I had parents that really cared and loved for me and brought me up in the ways of Christ, where I had good community around me, where I didn't know this sort of death and destruction. Like yours is the greatest testimony. You see, when you might have not have done much wrong in your life, and if you haven't, that's all glory to God. But when me and you are stood next to God, trust me, God's done a bigger work in your life than what he has in me, because he's kept you from all of that. You're the bigger miracle than what I am. Because the Bible says in Romans 1, if you all had a chance to do what Bruce did, you'd do it. And don't fool yourself to think that you wouldn't, because we're all the same. So the fact that God's kept you from that means that you're a bigger miracle than what I am. So then that brings me to today that I'm looking at people, and literally at one point, there were that many around us, that many kind of intoxicated. Someone turned around to me and said, it's like being in the middle of a zombie movie. Like it was just that spaced out. And this is the centre of a city. Like it's not no back street or some dodgy area. Like this is the middle of the city. You know, we had the privilege and honour of Roy coming down a couple of times. And Roy can testify that it's the middle of the city. People are going to work, people's shops are open. And there's just like this community of zombies where their life have just been robbed from addiction. But the Bible says that that's what you'd all be like if you had a chance. Like the Bible says that they're not the exception. That is what you would be like. He said, give you over to your worst desires. That's what we should all be like. It's only God's grace and spirit that the whole society is not like that. And when I see people like that, if you see a beggar on the street, let's say, right, when you look at him or her, what do you see? Well, this is what you should see. That is a mirror reflection of what I would be if the Lord wasn't in my life, because trust me, it could quite easily. Say, well, no, it wouldn't happen to me. I've heard that a million times. I've been in Alcoholics Anonymous, I've been in everything. Everyone says that won't be me. You're all 2 steps away from making the biggest mistakes of your life. So when I've looked around today, I've said to this guy, I've said, this is the picture the Bible paints. And you might not look like that on the outside, but if you haven't got Christ, that is exactly what you are like on the inside. You're just a zombie walking around, a slave to sin and death on the inside. Like internally, you're dead. Your soul is dead. So when you see the worst out there, remember that that's what's inside you if you're not in Christ, if you're not alive again. Now, what can bring those out of that situation? Well, you'd say, well, if you got a team in to come and get them and put them in a rehab, if you got doctors and nurses to come and work on it, if you got some psychologists to work on them, and that's the point, isn't it? If you see somebody that needs help, it needs something outside of themselves to help them. Like if you've broken your leg, you don't go to hospital and fix it yourself, right? You need somebody outside of you who can do that. It's the exact same with your spirit. Like you will never fix what's inside of you. You'll never fix your sinful way. You'll never fix that. You're turning your back on God, on rejecting God. You'll never fix that. Only something outside of yourself can fix you. No, what happens? If you've got a broken phone, what do? You send it back to whoever made it to be fixed. It's the same. Well, if we're broken, what should we do? Go back to whoever created us to fix us. And that's what God can do. But it's more than that. Like God hasn't saved me just to have a good life now, which I'm grateful that I have. But everything that I've done, every sin that I've committed, and one day I'm going to stand in judgment, and this is going to happen to all of us. I don't care who you are. Everything you've done wrong and the rejection of God is going to get read out. I don't know whether you've ever been in court. If you get your charge sheet read out, it can be a long list. Mine's going to be huge. Everyone. And don't think yours are. You see, the worst thing that you've done that no one knows, that's getting read out on Judgment Day. You ain't getting away from that. But you see, when every charge gets read out, Jesus says, I've paid that penalty. I see Bruce did this. Jesus says, yeah, but I did that. Bruce did this. Jesus says, I did that. Like, not only does it fix you now, but it clears you of your debt going into eternal life. And then what happens after that? See, this life of misery. My prayer is that me, the people that I hear, will get to spend eternity where there's no more tears, no more pain, no more sorrow, no more addiction, no more poverty, but just love and bliss, worshipping God. I think I've probably gone over my time there. So I'll leave it there. And I pray that if you don't know the Lord, that you'll come to accept him tonight, knowing that no matter what you've done, the Lord can clean you, can heal you, you can belong to him, you can feel his love. And if you do know him, well, I pray that you'll continue to go out and share this message of love and hope for those who don't have it. There you go, Ben.
Thanks, Bruce. Sorry you can't see me, but thank you very much. Really appreciate that. We appreciate your honesty. And really liked what you said about your testimony maybe getting blown up as some sort of really good story. But it's like you said, it's your past. It leaves a trail, sin as a consequence. And the way you've overcome it is with the Lord's help is miraculous. So we're so thankful for you. We're grateful that you're part of our lives, and we can hear this story. I'd listened to that a million times. So thank you.
Appreciate that. And I was thinking about this. So I'm gonna rant on again here. I was thinking of this. I'm not really one for films, and I'm definitely not one for superhero films, because only I'm a superhero in my own eyes, like. But I was watching this, right? And I was watching kind of a Batman film. And at the end of the film, right, he defeats the baddie, he gets the girl, everyone's happy, and everyone's cheering. But for 2 hours previously, there's been bodies being thrown over, being killed, being destroyed. And I'm like, hang on a minute. It's just took you 2 hours of killing people and being destroyed for you to have this great moment. I thought that's exactly what it's like. And it's so easily we forget what's gone on in the past and the destruction that's been caused. And we hold up something that we see as being good or being great. And it's always the opposite.
Mm. Absolutely. We're just waiting to see if anybody's got any questions for you, Bruce. Yeah, they are muted, but they can get back. They can chat on here if they want. You can send a message on chat if you like, or maybe Graham will unmute people now. But I've got a question for you, Bruce. You run a soup kitchen out the back of your church?
Yeah.
And could you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So it's been going for a while now, and we started to serve a meal on a Wednesday night and a Friday morning. Wednesday night at first, and this was just to feed, say, like the homeless or the addict. And the company was on a Wednesday. They can come in, they'll get fed, they get clothes, see doctors. I mean, you've been there, Ben. You've seen what it's like. And then when you open up the doors, you'll see 80 people walk in, and you can testify this, Ben. You didn't see a nasty or horrible person walk through that door. Like, that's not what you see. What you see is people have got this image that an addict or homeless, like the bad people are inherently evil or what have you. And they're not. They're just somebody who's taken 2 wrong turns and life's treated them bad. So we feed them on a Wednesday night. And then what happened was then, I used to go out in early morning to see some of the working girls. One of the things is that the most desperate time for a working girl is just before dawn, because that's when everyone starts going to work, so they can't be about. And if they're out at that time, it means they haven't earned enough money to get through the day. So it's really, so I decided, well, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to open up a soup kitchen for breakfast, so they can come there, get something to eat before they kind of go home. I used to go to a cafe meet on a Friday morning, and some of the girls would come in, and I tell you the real. See, now once you ask me a question, that's I'm just going to go for it. But this is how sad it used to be, right? I used to go to this cafe for my breakfast on a Friday morning, and you'd get girls come in who would worked all night. Now, I'm not even going to describe what that means. They've worked all night. It's the worst and most audible thing that they've done. It's just horrendous. They've been violated and abused, and they'd come in so nice. And even it were morning, they'd come in and they'd say, "Oh, can I have jam roly-poly and custard?" Like they'd want this dessert. Because you know what this dessert did? It reminded them of a time when none of this was going on. It reminded them when they were young and they were still children, there were no pain. And the girls would come in every Friday, and this is what they'd get. Sponge and custard before they went home. Like, there's a part of everybody that still needs to be loved and cared for and still remembers the days when there were no pain. And that's one of the things that Jesus does, right? He fills that gap and he heals that. But the people that you see who are homeless or what have you, the people who are longing to be loved again and remember the time when they were loved. So anyway, we've done these soup kitchens, but since lockdown, that's changed because we can't operate that now. So now we take packs of food up, we go into town and we just connect with people in town, and we get out to see some of the girls, we get out there taking food out. It's just been a real blessing. Like I said, your very own Roy, been down and he's done really well and got in there. Once or twice he got mistaken for some of them guys, but it's all right.
Come on, Roy.
Right, so I was saying this to you before, Ben, right? No, it wasn't. Actually, it was to Glenn that I was saying it to. That last week, a couple from our church, I know the daughter, I know them, I know the daughter. The daughter's 7 years old. She contacts me. And she's like, "Listen, Bruce, right? I've seen some homeless people. I'm not happy about it. I don't like this people who've got things that I haven't." She goes, "I haven't spending money. I've made up these packs for people. Can I come out with you to give them out?" 7-year-old girl, this, right? So I'm like, "Of course you can come out. I don't care. Just, don't tell your mum and dad that I'm taking you out to sit with homeless and addicts all day. You'll be right." And she'd made these bags up for girls and boys. And they had toiletries in them, they had snacks in them, like some chocolate. And on each one, she'd wrote a memory verse at 7 years old. And I took her out. There's a part in Bradford where there's a bridge, and there's a lot of tents and village under there that are homeless. She was straight into there, right? And I'm saying to everybody, homeless people have got the funniest names going, right? So there's some guys who live under there. One's called Easy Man, one's called Tiptoe, right? So I'm like, "Easy Man, Tiptoe." So listen, I brought my pal with me. And they're like, "Oh, who is it?" And they sees this girl, 7 years old, and she goes, "I've made these for you." I seen hardest man I've ever seen just start crying in tears because somebody so young with such heart wanted to do something for them. And then when they read the message, they were just all broken. And this is what happens and this is the thing that you see in Jesus, right? When he goes sees the woman at the well or the woman caught in adultery. What breaks your heart in that is that someone is prepared to show someone love who thinks they don't deserve love, right? That's the beauty of Jesus. And then when you see it with a young 7-year-old girl and some addict, it's heartbreaking, but that's the gospel there. That is love being shown to people who don't deserve it, let's say.
Yeah. Fantastic.